Hello, Patreon folk. The pub's closed. The doors are shut. It's only us here tonight. I want to give a shout out to Vin and to Matt earlier tonight as well, and thank them very much for talking about and kind of promoting the lock-in and things tonight as well. But I did feel a wee pang of guilt that we were talking about something publicly that it was kind of excluded from a lot of folk. Obviously, it's just for you guys. How are we all? I'm looking forward to having a more kind of relaxed, hopefully the chat moving a wee bit slower so I can get to hang out with you and interact a wee bit more. That would be nice. That's my plan for this evening. And it's turned out to be a bit of a busy night because Vin was talking about doing his live, and he reached out to me to ask if I was doing a live tonight on the 21st. And I said, there's a chance that I may be doing a lock-in. I did try to do a lock-in on Sunday night, but we had a family thing at the weekend and I ended up just running out of time. I couldn't prepare for it. So it ended up being tonight. But Vin had kind of said, look, it's fine. I'll make sure that my time and it suited him for his life to be done and dusted for 9:45. So he said, go right ahead anyway. But then a few days ago, we noticed that Matt had publicized a live stream. And, that anybody can schedule a live anytime they want. Nobody has exclusivity over the airwaves. But what we decided to do, Vin reached out to Matt, to Ear Whiskey, and to talk about could we make it work so there wasn't an overlap. And I think that's just a nice gesture that was able to happen tonight, so that you guys, if you're subscribers to Matt and wanted to hang out with Matt or Vin, and still managed to make this. We managed to make it happen because all three channels are on the Euro time zone, of course. Anyway, enough about that. I'm very grateful that we managed to make it work, and it's wonderful to have you all here. I'm going to run through the chat quickly, but there's already a lot of you in. Despite the pub doors being closed, it is a lock-in. There's a lot of you here, so let me do my best, my very best. Dwayne, my friend, always great to see you in. Always great to have you tuning in as well. I hope you're all over all your jet lag now after your mega tour of Scotland a couple of weeks back. Mark Goins is in as well. Wonderful, Mark. I got to meet and hang out with you in Texas. Absolutely brilliant to see you in here. Andy Calderwood, I met very recently as well at Tasting in Glasgow. Brilliant. Jimmy Legg. Blair, you and I have still to meet, but I have a feeling it'll happen, my friend. Good to welcome you here in the meantime. Flood is here. Fantastic to see you, my friend. I think you're in Europe somewhere, but I forget, and I hope you'll forgive me for forgetting. Jimmy Jazz is here. Great to see you again, Jimmy. You're a fantastic attendee in the pub. A fantastic customer, patron. I don't know. Whiskey Radar is here. That's Roland. Roland out there in Germany, I think. Roland, am I remembering properly? Good to have you in. Jens Roger Christofferson is here saying hi, all barflies. Hello, right back at you, Jens, and thank you so much. Am I pronouncing your name right? I've just always said Yen, but it could be a hard J. Apologies. I know you've probably corrected me on that in the past. Per Christensen is in from Denmark. Good to have you, Per. Fantastic. I hope you've got your package. Ard Baggy is here, my friend Ard Baggy, as well as Vin at No Nonsense Whiskey, who seems to be an administrator tonight. Fantastic, Vin. I apologise for how badly I handled your support on the last public live stream. But I will open our direct chat just in case you want to use that. Although I'm hoping that things are quiet enough tonight for me to be able to handle it okay. Alistair Gray's here. Fantastic, Alistair. Good to see you, a fellow Scot, just living a wee bit north from me. Eric Waite, all the way from California. Fantastic. Sunday evening Scotch. Michael, also from the States as well. Wonderful to have you in, Michael. My friend Paul Gibbs, got to see the other weekend as well. Wonderful to see you, Paul. Rico Danert, also in Germany, I believe. Yes, you are in Germany, Rico. Fantastic. I leave for Germany tomorrow. I think I've already told you. Everybody's aware that I'm going to the Interwhiskey Festival in Frankfurt tomorrow. And I'm hoping that there'll be some of you guys there. I'm looking forward to meeting the doc again. Aaron McFault is already there. Rolf is travelling over. Sevi the Alchemist is going over. Chris Moore is going over as well. But I was super excited to hear that Luna Aaron is going to be at the festival as well. So we'll get to meet Luna. Fantastic. Carol Van Wallingen is in. Good to have you, Carol. Fabulous. Christina is in as well. You're not studying tonight, Christina? She's saying, well, good things about being sick. Make another VPub and lock in that. Good to have you, Christina. Wonderful. Dwayne Large is I already mentioned you, Dwayne, first tonight. You're just saying hello. Thank you very much. Skippy Van Pob is here. Good to see you, Skippy. Or Scott, as I now know you as. Good to see you and welcome you in, Scott. Lunarin is here. Chat is relaxed. Good. I have a chance of following it tonight. Jason Coates is here as well. Superb, Jason. Good to see you in. Simon Ray, my friend Simon, got to meet and hang out the other weekend as well. Wonderful. Lee Hosey, Haddington Whiskey. You and I haven't met yet, but that's a possibility, Lee, because you live very, very close, just on the east of the country there. Ben Marnock, Ronnie, good to see you, my friend. Good to have you in. We've met a few times and had some nice times together, Ronnie. Look forward to more of that. Donald Rance is here as well. Good to have you, Donald, over there in the isolated whiskey environment that seems to be Canada. Whiskey Crusaders, that's Matt. I want to show you something over my shoulder here. You might have spotted this on a couple of public VPubs, but all around me tonight, and it's the only thing I'm going to drink tonight, I think, are samples that have been sent in to me by you guys. But look at this selection box that was handed to me as I departed Austin a month ago. A selection of fabulous bourbons and American whiskies that you simply can't happen upon in the UK. Carefully put together, curated, a lovely selection by the gentleman and whiskey champion that is Matt Zetrick. He's challenging Jason at Malt Review for being one of the hardest working guys in whiskey, let me tell you. Thank you for that amazing selection, Matt. I may actually just pull one out at random. And after I finish this sample I've got on the go here, I'll sip this 1792 bottled in bond, 100 proof. Wow. So that is going to be my next dram. Who have I missed? Marcus Krankner is in. Good to see you, Marcus. Hope Christine as well. I hope she's sitting next to you tonight. Hope you're able to stay up a wee bit later than you normally would, my friend. Thank you. Jimmy Jazz. Sit back and relax now, Vin. No nonsense whiskey. That's right. He doesn't need to host anything now. He can just kick back and relax. Eric Waite is in as well. Fantastic to see you. Hello from California. I'm packing boxes, getting ready to move to Sacramento from the San Francisco Bay Area. Yeah, that's going to be a big job, Eric, especially with that whiskey collection that you've amassed. Fantastic to see so many of you in. Just a couple that I might have missed. Steve A from the States, we've certainly met. Matthias Metzner, we've certainly met as well. Both of you guys in Austin. Fantastic weekend that was to meet so many of you. And I'll just scroll up very quickly. And the Sordid, I wonder who that is. I wonder who that is. That's a new pseudonym, but it's clearly a patron. And I welcome you in regardless of who you are. I'm going to say it's Graham or Sterling. There you go, one of those two guys. Okay, hopefully I've caught everyone. Neil Cochran is here as well. Good to see you, Neil. I hope you're able to hang out with us tonight. And Toby is in. Whiskey Shared. Now I'm starting to feel guilt about anybody that I've missed. Brian is in. Kilco, Brian Calavi is in here as well. Good to have you all. Surely I've missed a lot of you because there are already 55 of you watching. And some of you are quite happy just to watch and not chat in the chat. So that's fine. That's absolutely fine. This is a wee opportunity for me really to say thanks so much. I caught a wee bit of Vin's stream at the end there, and he was spending a lot of time talking about just being kind of blown away by the Patreon dynamic. And I feel the same way. Certainly this week I posted something very explicitly thanking you and trying to always work out ways that I can continue to thank you. And I'm quite happy to have feedback as well on that. I think most of you seem quite happy just now, but that's probably because you're just magnificent folk and very polite and don't like to ask or say. Triketra and Stuart, good to see you, my friend. Gigi and I have joined. Welcome, Gigi and Stuart. You also attended the blind tasting in Glasgow recently, and it was wonderful to have you there. Kilco is saying, I'm attempting to edit my Texas adventure. I'm going to take all my subpar editing skills to finish. So you've just been down to Texas. I hope that worked out fantastic for you. In fact, I know without any doubt that it did. Tell you guys what I'm sipping here tonight. I'm having a sample that was placed in my hand Don't know what I've done with the bottle for it now. I've got so many bottles lying here. It was placed in my hand at the Glasgow Whisky Festival by Jim. I poured it and I've put the empty away somewhere, but it's a 22-year-old Cadenhead's Glenrothes from Jim from our whisky club. Thank you very much, Jim. It's very potent. I can taste every single point of this 57% ABV. Ebhead Rolf is in as well. Good to have you, my friend. Looking forward to hanging out with you this weekend again as well. I did manage to fix the notification thing. So if you're trying to get a hold of me, just type Aqvavitae or @Aqvavitae and it lights up orange as Zach Andrews has just done. It says you were the first person I ever received samples from. Wow, I was the first person that ever sent you samples, Zach. Wow, that's amazing. I hope that I've not been the last, and I hope that you've struck up all sorts of sample exchanges here, there, and everywhere. Because let's face it, I think it's quite easy to get away with shipping tiny little non-commercial gift samples here and there. We do have to be careful, though, of course. Scott is saying, Skippy Van Pub is saying, it's like anything in life. Everyone likes to hear a thank you once in a while. But we know how much work you put into this channel, and that is appreciated from our side very, very much. Yes, it does take a lot of work. I'll be very honest. It takes a ton of work, prep, and all sorts of things going on. But it should be taking more work because I'm still very delinquent in the pre-recorded videos. But I'm still working away. And you will start to see that coming through. Loving this new machine. It's wonderful to switch on a machine in the morning and just not have to worry about what it's doing. It just works for you. So that's helping a lot as well. Again, thanks to my Patreon support. Steve A is saying, loving the Barfly t-shirt. So comfortable. Wow, the t-shirts have flown out the door. I didn't buy as many Barfly t-shirts because I hadn't done a survey. I hadn't asked you guys what you wanted, whether you wanted them or not. I just took a kind of punt on those. So I think what's happened is the Barfly t-shirts have cannibalized to a certain extent recycled t-shirts, which is just as well. If you're after a large or an extra large Barfly t-shirt, you have to wait now. They're on back order. I've had to top up and order some more. And it looks like I'm going to probably have to do the same with recycled t-shirts as well. So thanks so much for your support. There's 2 or 3 sizes I'm out of, as I mentioned, large and extra large Barfly t-shirts. But I've got most of the sizes, most of the other sizes, and I think I've still got all the sizes available and recycled, I think. Maybe up at the top, 3XL, 4XL might be a bit thin. But thank you, and thank you for your feedback as well. It was the same manufacturers previously, the same material, the same supplier, but just a different cut. Less of a fashion fit and more kind of comfort, relaxed fit with a slightly tighter neck. Lots of feedback to say that they're happy with it, but some people saying that the size was ever so slightly different. So I'll try and help you with that when you order, if you're struggling, if you're sometimes in between sizes or something. And we've always got that thing about US sizes and Euro sizes as well. But thanks to everybody who bought all the merch recently that was going out. I was shipping out so many things with the new coins going out, and you were taking the opportunity to add in a t-shirt there, or maybe take the opportunity to buy some glasses or something. And it was amazing. It was wonderful. It really, really helps a huge amount. And I took the opportunity to send out the Evangelist coins. I want to talk to my patrons about the Evangelist coins because I've had a lot of questions about these, and let me explain exactly what's happening with them. So the Evangelist coins are these. I don't want to show these too close to the camera. You'll see these when they arrive with you. All my patrons receive these. All of you guys do. But it would bankrupt me if I sent out 250 packages or 212 packages, let's say, all across the globe. So I'm sending them out in tranches, if you like, in batches. And the way I'm working it right now is if I have your address, if I've sent you something before, it's very easy for me to send you these. So if I've got your address, you're probably going to get these coins quite soon, especially if you've been a longer term supporter. However, I have to be honest, I'm going to be efficient about this. And the folk that have been buying merch from me recently, the ones that qualify for Evangelist coins, I've been taking the opportunity to just send the coins out in the same package to you. And I hope you don't judge me for that. I hope you understand why I'm doing that. So it does mean that, yes, there are folk out there that have kind of jumped the queue, so to speak. So I'm working my way through a list now to catch all the patrons who are due and overdue Evangelist coins and get them shipped out to you. I've got all the packaging in now. I've got boxes of bubble envelopes over there and labels and things. And I'm just getting through it all. I hope that not only have you enjoyed the t-shirts, but you've enjoyed the coins as well. The only poetry I've ever written in my life exists inside these little packets. Steve A is saying some good looking coins too, Aqvavitae. Thanks very much, Steve. I'm very glad that you like them. Michael, Sunday Evening Scotch, is saying the new coin and tonight's sample theme seem to mesh. A whiskey sample is a date. That's right. And it was so great to receive those Evangelist coins as well. Michael, I'm very glad that you got them, and I'm glad that you like them. Triquetra Stuart is saying Slancher for the coins. Did you get them, Stuart? Good. Luna Aaron's saying the Evangelist coins are really beautiful, very three-dimensional pick at the back. Yeah, the artwork I did was way more three-dimensional than the way it prints out, but that's often the case. And when we're printing onto ceramic like this, I've started to learn a wee bit more about how to design these to bring kind of better contrast and more impactful designs, I think, I hope. But yes, what I'm trying to do is to build a little set, and eventually you guys can collect a little set. And I've got much more ideas there for the future. I'm getting way ahead of myself for ideas. I have more ideas than time. It tends to be the case. So yeah, I hope that you're going to like that. Like I say, all my patrons qualify for Evangelist coins. If you're an evangelist, if you are a top tier evangelist, you're already qualify immediately for all coins. And I need to get on it and get my coins out to all my evangelists. Whiskey Novice is saying, Aqvavitae, I love the coins. You're so generous. Well, actually, sometimes I feel that it's paltry for the support that you've given me, honestly. But I'm glad that you like them. I'm glad it's something that people appreciate. And he's saying, great idea to send out as one package, bigger surprise on opening. Yeah, a little bit of that going on, like a care package type thing. Great t-shirts, also really comfy. I'm glad you like it, Andy. Superb. Zach Andrews is saying, can't wait for the future. Yes, Zach. It's a wee package on its way to you as well. And that is a surprise. You're not expecting it, my friend. It's not whiskey this time, though. Congratulations to everybody that won something in the giveaway last week. The Ralphie bottle, I was very happy it went to John. John Bortle, congratulations again, because he is a patron of mine as well. And, you know, I don't mind if it goes outside of Patreon. I don't mind if it ends up with a subscriber, viewer. Anybody is eligible to enter those things. But forgive me for feeling a wee bit contentment when it ends up in the hands of a patron. That's nice. Alistair Gray saying, Aqvavitae, thank you for introducing me to Coquerin Heavily Peated 2. Wow, wow, wow. Isn't it so much different from the first release? Now, I made a wee mistake. When I was talking about the Coquerin Heavily Peated, no, it wasn't the Coquerin, was it? It was the Ralphie bottle, and I made a mistake on. And I was comparing it to the Talisker, and I suggested that it was bourbon cask. But I went in the Good Spirits Company, and a couple of people sent a message in actually to say, you sure, is that not a sherry cask? And I went into the Good Spirits Company. It says nothing on the label. Have I got it here? Do I still have it here? Yep. Here's John's bottle here, the signed one. It says nothing on the bottle about the casking, and they were able to confirm that indeed it was a sherry cask. So it wasn't ex-bourbon. Now, obviously, if I spent a wee bit of time with it, I could have picked up on that, perhaps. But I think when you get a very, very active bourbon cask, it can almost sometimes parade a little bit like a sherry cask. It can give off a lot of really fruity sherry-style flavours at times. But regardless, I just wanted to correct that wee mistake. The Ralphie Ben Nevis is a sherry cask. Fraser Bell is in. Fraser, that's Whiskey Freedom, isn't it? Fraser, my first patron lock-in. Wagwan Aqvavitae. Fraser, I wasn't aware this was the first time that you were in. It's great to have you, my friend, and it's great that you're able to spend a wee bit of time with me. Mark Slinger is saying, Roy, I was very happy to receive the coins. Thank you, friend. Thank you as well, Mark. Thank you. I hope you liked them when they arrived. Mark is also up there in Scotland. An Englishman living up in Speyside, I believe. Zach Andrews is saying, "You, Aqvavitae, you are seriously amazing. Now I'm on the edge of my seat." I think you'll like it, Zach. Jimmy Like Blair Conrad is saying, your coin is always right in front of me when I'm in my whiskey office. That's what I refer to this room as now. When I was salaried, I couldn't have kind of whiskey displayed behind me. You'll notice the live streams were quite austere and bare behind me. But when I became self-employed, my tail feathers went up a bit and I said, screw it, I don't care what people see behind me. And if anything, when I'm on professional business calls and people see all that behind me, it's a nice icebreaker, and it often starts a bit of a conversation as well. So I shouldn't have been so professionally uptight in the first place. There you go. Jimmy Legg is saying, oh yeah, I caught that comment. That's fantastic, Jimmy, and I hope you're enjoying it. Scott is saying, sorry if I missed it, but what are you drinking? This is my last wee sip here of a 22-year-old Glenrothes, a Cadenheads Glenrothes, a sample that was handed to me by my friend Jim at the Whiskey Club. Slancha Jim, thank you for your sample. I think this, I've only got 2 glasses tonight, so I'm going to rinse this glass out. I tend to treat things a wee bit more laid back when it's just you guys. I hope that's okay. I think this was either a refill sherry cask, potentially second, third fill, or it could be bourbon cask, but Glenrothes is normally associated with sherry maturation, but again, Cadenheads, it could be anything. Okay, the next one, I was going to try this wee bourbon from Matt Zittrick, this 1792 bottled in bond. Matt, if you want to tell me anything about this, I am a complete newbie. I have tried a 1792. There was a really nice one getting handed out in Austin, but I believe that's my only experience of it. I'm starting to enjoy bourbon, like seriously enjoy bourbon. When I used to approach bourbon, a bit like when I used to approach peat, all I could get was the obvious first thing, the peat. With bourbon, all I could get was the toffee and the caramels, and it was all just a confectionery fest for me. And I was struggling to get to the spirit, to get to the distillate behind it at times, and that was just an amateur palate. That's why the high ABV bourbons hooked me and brought me in, because there was so much more going on and there was so much more texture. But this being bottled in bond, I guess that means it's 50%, 100 proof, 50 ABV. So hopefully this is nice and grippy. Lee Hosey is saying Aqvavitae Deanston tasting tomorrow night with Whiskey Games UK. Fantastic. So Whiskey Games UK, that's Matt Bishop out in Edinburgh as well. Fantastic that you guys have hooked up. That's why the Aqvavitae Barflies Facebook group has appeared. And I've kind of trying to breathe life into that Facebook group in the hope that we can continue what we do here, making those connections, getting people together, because as time goes on, you realize that the virtual world and social media channels and YouTube channels and everything is wonderful. It's really great to be enjoying whiskey in these times, but nothing beats hooking up in real life. You guys are all amazing. And the more and more I meet you out there in the real world, the more I realize how cool this thing is that we've all got going on here. So Aqvavitae Barflies on Facebook. If you've already joined, fantastic. If you haven't, consider it. If you're a Facebook user, of course. Jimmy Legg is saying Aqvavitae. In one of Ralphie's old videos, he and Serge Valentine both thought a whiskey was sherry matured. They later found out it wasn't. That's right. I mean, it's just sometimes a particularly active or a particular style of bourbon cask can parade a wee bit like a sherry cask. And my favourite sherry cask, honestly, tends to be refill sherry. It was always said that Clynelish behaved brilliantly in bourbon and it didn't do well in sherry. But my opinion is the best Clynelishes I've ever tasted have been refill sherry Clynelishes. So they say sherry butt on the label, but the colour of the liquid is pale. Amazing, wonderful. transcendent. There's a patron. Well, Scott Monroe's not able to join us tonight. He's working tonight, but Scott and I are completely in agreement on that as well. But Mikey Hay, another patron of mine, I've not spotted if he's in tonight. I gave him one of these in the pot still. It was expensive in there, but I had to let him try this, and he actually stopped me mid-sentence. He held his hand up and asked me to stop talking, and he just turned away and went silent for a while, and he was just blown away. That was a refill sherry, Clean Leash. Fraser Bell is saying that Vin needs to help me with pronunciation. There's absolutely no doubt. I don't know what I'm pronouncing wrong, and I apologise if I am. But if you tell me the right way, I'll try very hard to do it the right way. Whiskey Radar is saying, you starting me with a sample. Fits perfectly with me tonight. Just unboxed a package containing a pair of Mortlach 16 Flora and Fauna samples. My Christmas treat. And a sample of Port Ellen 8th edition. Wow. Roland, you're not messing about there. Mortlach 16 F&F, that's 43%. I always feel it's a wonderful, wonderful whiskey. It'd be wonderful if they just had a few dots extra ABV. But a couple of Port Ellens, you are treating yourself this year. I hope you find a moment to properly enjoy those. Kilco's saying, I prefer hangout streams. We all just want to relax and chat whiskey talk. I like to believe. Well, that's what this is a wee bit more about. I'm going to try and speak to you guys as much as I can. But it's tough because I'm also trying to kind of keep you up to speed with the behind the scenes and the things that I'm doing in the background, which is a lot. It's a lot. Zach Andrews is saying, is that the full proof or the bottled and bond? Zach, this is the bottled and bond 1792. Mouthful of cinnamon. Cinnamon spice. It arrived nice and soft. It was quiet. And then as it sat in the palate and the development, straight into spice. And now literally like I've had a cinnamon biscuit or cake or something. And do you know what I need to do? I need to spend more time with bourbon and sip in contrast. I need to do to bourbon what I've been enjoying all these years with Scotch. Because bourbons, to me, the profile is much more narrow band. It's not as diverse. It's not as wide as Scotch and bandwidth, I would say. But so much of that could be down to my amateur palate with bourbons. This is delicious. This has got a really nice finish as well. And this little tasting set that Matt's given me, I guarantee you this is going to be perfect for that. Skippy is saying, I have a 1792 small batch. It's quite nice. This is really nice. Michael is saying, yes, I've been having the same journey with bourbon this year. And I'm a full-blown bourbon fiend now. It's whiskey. Why would you not be? There was a time, as recently as 2008, where I had and shared peated whiskies only because it was a specific genre of whiskey that I think people had to experience. And so many of them took to it right away and loved it right away. And I was always like, it's my least favourite. Until you all know the story about the Lagavulin 16, and suddenly everything changed. Everything changed. We never seem to learn. You need to invest sometimes to enjoy things. Marcus Crichton is saying, I'm sorry, but I have to go, feeling under the weather. But we'll catch it on the replay. Marcus, if I've missed you, I'm sorry that you're feeling poorly. And I hope you're on the mend really quickly, my friend. Whiskey Crusaders, Matt, is saying 1792, the year Kentucky became a state. And it's at least 4-year-old and 100 proof. I was gifted a bottle of Eagle Rare this year. I'm quite surprised to discover that it's 10 years old, which is pretty old for a bourbon, right? Sunday Evening Scotch is saying, Barfly's Facebook group. Whoa, I'm going to join now. So the best thing I can do then is, well, you can search for Aqvavitae Barflies, Somebody still, an admin still needs to approve you. And what we've been doing this week is kind of brainstorming a question that barflies would know in order to get into the group, a control question. And it's not to keep out the industry, and it's not to keep out people that are watching and tend not to engage with the live streams as much. But it's to make sure that we're attracting the right people, the people we know. It's just a place for our community to hook up and try and get together. And we want to just avoid trolls, I guess. Now, trolls can be dealt with through admin, but if we can even avoid any kind of conflict at all, I believe the whiskey community to be remarkably genteel and polite and considerate. And there is nobody there's nobody that comes to mind that I would actively keep out of the group. But it would be nice if there was a question in there that we knew that we were getting barflies in the Aqvavitae barflies group. I hope that makes sense. Eric Waite is saying, my enjoyment of bourbon is very mood driven. I can go many weeks without it, and suddenly I want one. Same goes for the types of music I enjoy. And spicy food for me, Eric, specifically Indian. When I get it in my head that I want some spicy Indian food, there's nothing to substitute it. So maybe I'll get like that with bourbon too. Flood is saying barrel proof makes so much difference with bourbons. Fully agree. Even more than Scotch. I have to say that's been my experience. Soft bourbons are watery and dull to me. I'm really disappointed with Buffalo Trace. The 40% effort they put out here is just not good enough. I felt that maybe I was being cruel, but anybody that I poured it for, people are like, oh, there's even a couple of people that I poured that 40% Buffalo Trace for, and they just politely, as they could, didn't finish. Because there's so many other nicer things to enjoy, and I understand that. Macallan Fine Rare, St. Aqvavitae, 1995. Am I way behind Macallan Fine Rare? Am I way behind Doc? Oh, I think I am. Jimmy, like I was saying, serious bourbon question. Is bourbon double distilled once in a column and once in a pot still, or is the vapor just passed through a copper doubler after column distilled? So column distillation does everything. You pump wash in one end and you get high strength spirit out the other end. And the configuration of column stills are completely different right across the industry, or tweaked across the industry. But yeah, bourbons are not pot still distilled, so you don't have the batch situation going on there. But I'm not a bourbon expert, so you've asked the wrong guy. I'm not an expert of anything. Kilco O'Brien is saying, you know, I might know a young couple in Kentucky who could help you with that. Yes, we both do. We both do. Chad and Sarah, we were very, very close. We were just about to do a collaboration. We had it all set up and things. And then it became a timing issue. Then we hit summer, and I have to be honest, I've let that drop. I think that I would want to come up with something creative if I was going to do a collab with those guys, something that would be worthy of their time. So we'll spend a bit of time thinking about it. We touched on it again when we met again in Austin. Whiskey Crusaders is saying, you're right with the width of flavours, not as big as Scotch, that's for sure. And Lee at Haddington Whiskey is saying, where is the Manx Bothy? The Manx Bothy is on the Isle of Man. But you've put that in inverted commas, so maybe you're referencing something else. Sorry if that's lost on me, Lee. Kilco is saying it's not easy being a magnificent bastard. It's very easy being a magnificent bastard. It's easy for all of you guys. Mark Goins is saying, question for Barflies, Aqvavitae, what photobombed Bill? What photobombed Bill? Bill. My Bill? Bill from California? Bill from the Isla video? Was he photobombed? Oh, wow. Yes. Yes. wasn't Bill that was speaking. But I remember it's the Magic of Ella video that you're talking about. That's a pre-recorded video. What would be nice, and the ones that we've come up with, the two favourites are complete this sentence, it's not whiskey, ... and then they have to answer until it's shared. But that's a much more enveloping, that's a much more broad brush statement. But the other one that I really loved, I want to remember who said it now as well. I think it was Toby. Maybe not Toby, but what fruit might you want to avoid in the last 20 minutes of a VPub? And obviously what we're talking about there is banana skins, but that's maybe just a wee bit obscure, I think. But I liked it. Jimmy Legg is saying, what quiz question is always pictorial? Question 5. That's another good one. That's another good one. Luna. Yes. That was Jimmy Legs, was it? Steve A saying some bourbons are at least partially pot still. Ooh, those do tend to be the smaller craft distillers. Yeah, I think they've perhaps got a bit more flexibility there in terms of how the distillation is, whereas in Scotch malt production, it has to be pot still. Only malt whiskey has to be pot still. Scotch malt whiskey. Whiskey Crusaders is saying, have you had the Balcones Blue Corn Bourbon Cask Strength? It is a pot still. The Blue Corn Balcones, I don't know if I tried it when I was out there, but that's a pot still as well. Wow. So I'm being corrected here, and it's going to light up with people telling me all the pot still distillations of bourbon. There you go. Fantastic. Aqvavitae, I find if things step off with me, I reset with Irish, then good bourbon or rye, then I renew my love of Scotch, always in that order. That's coming from Jim over in Northern Ireland. That's interesting, Jim. I do tend to have mood-driven things like Eric was talking about, but it tends to take me in the direction of avoiding something for a little while until such a point that you feel, or somebody gives you something that rejuvenates the interest in it as well. And it tends to be quite a broad brush thing like peat or sherry cask or sweet whiskies or, like bourbons or something like that. But right now, and for a long time now, I've been open to enjoying everything. And Zach is saying the Balcones Texas pot still is not column distillation. Fantastic, Zach. Ben Marnick is saying the stills at Brewdog look like the craft still in the US distilleries. Yeah, it'd be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what they do, Ben, up there at Brewdog, up in Ellen. It's be curious to see what kind of crazy spirits come out of there. Kilco's saying you could try and touch base for a simple podcast. I think they're doing some of that nowadays. Yeah, that could be something. Be nice to have them on a VPub, but I know the timing might not be ideal for them in terms of their work day and things. Or Mark Goins is saying the fish, exactly. I've eventually worked it out. I'm a wee bit slow tonight. Mark, I do apologise. Ben Mardick is saying Jessica Chastain has just opened and poured a bottle of Lagavulin on film 4 in the file Miss Sloan. Maybe you're saying film Miss Sloan. Does that put you in the mind for some Lagavulin, has it, Ben? Whiskey Radar is saying bananas are no fruits, but technically berries. You must be German, Roland. Mo's Tune, good to see you, Mo's, is saying, Roy, I wonder how your rye with the toasted apple swirl is progressing. Well, let me show you. That's from a patron as well. This is from Graham Young. It's starting to get a wee bit darker now, but it's still very pale. And Graham sent me a photograph of his, and his has been in there a wee bit longer, but not much, a couple of weeks. His is much, much darker, as you can see there. Might be to do with daylight and various things like that. I might leave it up in the windowsill, perhaps. But think about it, it's just the same as a cask. This is applewood, of course. But if you consider in two casks, one being particularly active, and the other one not so much, I think that's exactly what we're seeing there. So I got a wee bit of a lazy applewood chunk in mine. But that might not be a bad thing. Maybe it just needs a wee bit more patience. What I need to do, perhaps on an upcoming public VPub, is pour off another sample of that and see how it's coming along. Matt is saying, also Iron Root is all pot still bourbon. Here we go. I've been there. I've not been at the distillery, of course, but I've been over there and I've talked to these guys about the product. You'd think I would be asking more questions about the distillation, but I'm too busy with a glass in my face enjoying the product. Whiskey Crusaders is saying, whoops, jumped. I will make sure I get you some of the cask strength Balcones then. Thank you, Matt. I do need a mule. I've got some whiskey in the States, in Texas specifically, in Austin, that I need to get over here. I'm just going to put that out there in case it can happen. And I have John Bortles in New York, and I've been speaking to him. We've got a plan B about how to get his Ralphie bottle to him through an annual trip with a friend that they take. But if there's anybody traveling backwards and forwards to New York that could mule a wee bottle of whiskey over to John, I would like to activate our global mule network to see if that can happen. And if it can't happen, I'll go down and speak to the folks at Scotch Whisky Auctions or something. I believe they've got things in place to ship to the States. They might be able to help. And Orange's Whiskey saying, basically, Aqvavitae doesn't know bourbon, haha. It's rude to laugh at someone's ignorance, Finn. Whiskey Novice is saying, good scenes, glad to hear it. Archslinger is saying, Roy, I went on a tour of Glengarry this week and Brewdog, where they were picking up hints and tips from the Glengarry staff. So Brewdog were there picking up hints from the Glengarry staff. That's interesting. I know one of the distillers at Brewdog. Whiskey Crusaders saying we need to get you to Ironroot. I'd love to go there. Not least because I need to pick up one of the YouTuber bottles, right? I wonder what's happening with that. I'd really like to get my hands on it. Matt, that was a very tasty bourbon, very tasty. I notice I'm drinking quite fast tonight. I'm more relaxed because I'm with you guys. I do have a quiz tonight. It's a lazy quiz. You might remember that a few weeks back, or a few lock-ins back, I did a themed quiz that was every question was to do with Glens. So at this time, and it wasn't meant to be lazy, but I realized that it might come across as being lazy. But I decided to just kind of hone in and try to see if I could put together 10 questions on a single distillery. So I opened Charles McLean's Wikipedia over my shoulder, and I opened it up, and the distillery that it opened at, I know you're not going to believe me, but it's true, was Deanston. So I had a wee read of the Deanston section in the book, and there was a couple of things in there, and then I had a wee read here and there, and I thought, can I put together 10 questions on Deanston? And that's what I have done. Don't go running off and swat up on Deanston. I think they're fairly easy questions. But yes, if you want to hang around for 10 questions on Deanston at the end, I thought it might be fun. It's not necessarily something I would maybe do out in the public live stream, but it's a bit of fun I can have with you guys. And I know that you'll be happy to give me feedback on it if I use themes and quizzes. Lee Hosey is saying, aside from the Deanston tasting tomorrow night, Matt has organised a coach trip to Deanston in a couple of weeks. Are there any Deanstons you'd recommend we look out for in particular? I don't think you can go wrong at Deanston. And when you taste from the casks in the warehouse, if you get a chance to do that, you'll start to work it out. They usually do something that has a very pure form of Deanston, like an ex-bourbon cask or an organic or something. A nice, clean, spirit-forward Deanston. And then they take you on and maybe do a wine or a sherry or something like that. The last time I was there was an organic Amontillado, which was delicious. But in the shop, we have a lot of special editions as well. And you might notice, where is it here? I was very, very lucky and managed to pick up more of this. I'm showing you this and you can't buy it, Lee. I apologise. I don't think you can. I don't think they'll have any left. But this is a 12-year-old Palo Cortado, which was amazing. Absolutely amazing for my palate. I loved it. But at Deanston, they're very generous and they'll let you try anything. They have pretty much everything there open first. Skippy Van Pob is saying, I'd love to go to Texas, then Scotland. I'll see what the wife says. Scott, meal for me. So I think I've currently got 3 or maybe 4 bottles over in Austin that I couldn't carry back from my last trip. that Josh Golladay is very graciously holding on to for me. And he's saying, I think bourbon is typically taken off a column at lower proof in the US compared to columns in Scotland. Yeah, it's filling a different purpose, I guess, there, because the column stills in Scotland are producing the base for blends, of course, the majority of the time. Kilco is saying, I'm in Rhode Island, which isn't far from New York, but you might have someone closer or in the city itself even. Yeah, what I need is somebody that's going into New York and can drop it with somebody who can drop it with somebody. I don't know. I might just, for that one, I might just go to Scotch Whisky Auctions. Then I know that it's going to leave my hands and make it into the hands of John. Per is saying, Roy, I'm planning a trip to Islay with 2 friends in 2020. I hope we can meet up before or after Islay. So do I hope that too, Per. That would be wonderful. Keep in touch and let me know. I do try to meet with patrons as much as I possibly can. It's always a timing issue, and I can't commit well in advance because jobs, family commitments, everything else tends to have to take priority. I'm sure you understand. But usually, a week or so, 2 weeks, something before, when you know you're going to be, let's say, in Glasgow, I'm usually able to dial in whether or not I'm able to meet with you. My success rate is very high. There's only a very few that I've had to let down or I've missed. It just happens sometimes, and certainly in summertime it's crazy. There's literally not a week that there aren't people coming in, so it can be a heavy drain, and it overlaps a lot of time as well. It's fine if we're all willing to meet up together, which is actually more fun. But I do my best, Per, so stay in touch. The Alchemist is Sevi, you're in, you start. Hey guys, hope you're all doing well tonight. Looking forward to getting out to Frankfurt this weekend and having some fun out there. Another whiskey weekend where water has to be your friend, right? How do we get through 3 days? Whiskey Crusaders saying, you're welcome to stay here and I will take you. Yeah, you mentioned that. You gave me that invite when I was out there, Matt. Absolutely wonderful. I need to get out to Texas. I need to get out to Austin specifically when I can enjoy that place, that environment, without the wonderful but very crazy and busy atmosphere of the Bastard's Ball. Did anybody catch Stillet's? Jesse from Stillet put out his Bastard's Ball video today, and it's very cool because he's put an interview with me right in the centre of it. I was really chuffed to see that, honestly. I felt that when we sat down and recorded that little piece, I felt that I did what I always do, and I just kind of monologued and, as we say in Scots, havered for a little while. But he was able to make some sense of it and edit together something that made some kind of form of sense. But the video itself gives a really nice feeling of the event. It's very well put together. It's a nice, easy video to watch. I could have watched it for much longer. It's a nice video on Jesse's channel, Stillet. In fact, remind me if I forget to share it with you through Patreon, and I'll post it in the Patreon feed so you can catch that video. It's a bit of a treat. It's only about 10 or 12 minutes long. Rico is saying, do you recommend the Deanston 1997 Palo Cortado finish? That's the Blue Label one. I have to be honest, I didn't have enough time with it. Just at a tiny wee drop. It doesn't have the impact that one has, honestly speaking. I wouldn't stop anyone buying it. I wouldn't say, no, don't buy it. Like I say, I've only had a little amount of it, so I haven't had enough to recommend it. This one, I've been through 2 bottles. And I'm very confident at recommending that one. Vicky Thompson, I didn't even mention, and you're off to bed now after an SMWS 53-303. Vicky, if I've not missed you, good night, and I'll see you in the next VPub. I apologise. Donald is saying, have you ever thought of reviewing Aqvavitaes? There's a few of them out there now. I've tried a couple of them. The most recent one from Lindor's Abbey. I prefer whiskey. The flavours are very simulated and contrived and things. It's kind of why I don't really enjoy gin so much. I don't know. Never say never. Never say you don't like. Only I haven't learned how to like yet. Zach Andrews is saying, is there something from a dead distillery? Yes, absolutely, Zach. It's the Capardonic I've got. Josh is currently squirreling Capardonic for me. Whiskey Novice is saying Deanston 12 on its own is amazing. Can't imagine what yours is like. Well, this is cask strength as well. I think I could fool people into believing it's Springbank. There's a funk to it. There's a savoury note to it that leans to. It's not Springbank, but it kind of leans towards there. It certainly doesn't behave like a regular Deanston. But searching for the Deanston, you do find it, and the Deanston spirit is there. This is a 12-year-old Deanston. It's a modern Deanston, the best kind of Deanston. Dwayne Large is saying the Palo Cortado is a good one. They still had some a month ago when I was there, but no luggage space. That's when I bagged mine, Dwayne, wasn't it? Oh no, it was when I took my Italian visitors. I snagged a couple. But if they had some when you were there, there's a chance. There's a chance. Call Deanston ahead of time, and if they've got any Palo Cortado, ask them to put it aside for you. And Eric is saying, Aqvavitae, instead of going to Spain next summer, go to Texas, lol. And he's put, quite appropriately, 8 flames. I can understand why. McCallum Fine is talking to Whiskey Radar, and he's giving away secrets. He's saying Roy's absolute favourite is the Cask 8687 1995 20-year-old, one of his Epiphany whiskies we had in May. A stunner. I have it down there. I can see it. So I found one, and somebody pointed it out to me. So the only people that know how much I paid for that is me and the person that pointed it out, because it was way overpriced. But that whiskey was such a blinder for me that I almost felt guilty sharing it in the Epiphany tasting in the Good Spirits Company, because we had so many bold, loud, shouty, robust whiskies sipping around it. But it managed to hold its own. And I had a wee quiet moment in that tasting with that whiskey and connected with it again. And I just remember how much I love it. Roddy, who's the chairman of our Glasgow Whisky Club, and he works in the Good Spirits Company as well, very learned man about whiskey, and I'd love to have him on this show, do you know that? About whiskey in general, but all things alcohol related. And he came up to me after the tasting and said that Klein Leash brought tears to his eyes. And that 8687 is it's not the only one. There are lots of parcels of stock from Signatory Vintage of a similar style, but nothing has surpassed that one. It was just a beautiful, beautiful whiskey. I've got the Whiskey Rev to thank for discovering that one all those years ago. Neil Cochran is saying Deanston Palo Cortado 12 is great, 21 not so great. So Neil, you're kind of getting to what I'm talking about there. Modern Deanston is wonderful. Older Deanston is a try before you buy. And I say that as a fan of the place. Sid Martin is saying, even though sorry for the late arrival, you're very welcome, Sid. Don't worry about it. So I know that I touched on the merch earlier. I hope you've all been enjoying your new coins and things, and they've all been flying around all over the world. It's wonderful to see everybody posting over social media, giving me feedback that they're enjoying it and things. And I've talked these to death. And I mentioned earlier in the stream how I'm distributing as just as quickly as I can to try and catch up with all my patrons, and how I'm prioritizing getting the evangelist coins out there to everybody. But again, I'll say it again, if I don't have your address, if I've never shipped anything to you, please claim your evangelist coins. From time to time, you will see posts coming up on a Patreon feed from me just saying, look, there's a lot of guys out there still don't have your address. If you don't want the coins, I understand. But if you do, please send an address to claim them when I can get around to shipping them out to you. If I'm shipping out packages to you, if I'm shipping out coins or whatever it is, it makes sense that I'm going to use that opportunity to get the evangelist coins into that package. And if you're an evangelist, that's prioritized. But you might have noticed I'm wearing these embroidered shirts. I wore a grey one recently for a patron-only video. I'm not wearing it on the public streams. I'm not going to put these out there to public yet. I need to get the online store sorted. The online store is pretty much ready to go. I've been taking photos and I've got descriptions written out and things, and I've kind of tried to and structure how I'm going to work it, but I've got certification problems with the server that it's hosted on at the minute. But the guy that looks after me on that is taking care of that for me, and I just need to give him a nudge. Get the online store, will make the workflow of managing getting the stuff out to you quicker and making it all much easier. But what do you think of these? They're not t-shirts. but there are some times when this is appropriate. This is a really nice quality. This is the same as the No Nonsense Whiskey polo shirt, if anybody's had those. I love my No Nonsense Whiskey polo shirt. I wear it a lot. But this is the exact same as that. And it's embroidered in 4 colours here. There's a kind of gold and silver and an aqua silver and white. And sorry, I'm back to front. I'm in a kind of mirror situation here. And on the sleeve, it's got the same embroidery. These are really nice. I like these a lot, these shirts. Gold and silver thread with a kind of very pale silver aqua on the outside and white. These are expensive because of the embroidery. These I'm going to be selling these for £25, so a bit more expensive than the t-shirts. But I'm going to get them on the online store. I've got them in navy and dark grey, just to see how they go. Because there are occasions when I can wear this to a dinner or an event or a slightly more professional environment where if you turn up in a t-shirt, you might feel a little bit underdressed or feel uncomfortable or something. And I got a lot of people feeding back to me saying, Roy, I'd love to wear one of your shirts. I'd love to support, but I'm not a t-shirt guy. Have you got a golf shirt? Have you got a collared shirt? Those kind of things. And I said, no, I don't. And that's been about, for a year, I've been saying I'm thinking about it. And recently I got in touch with a guy who I knew did this and did the embroidery. And eventually I just committed and I got some ordered and then they're boxed and sitting downstairs just now. I've given a few out as gifts only. But let me know what you think about them. I should catch up with this chat. Sid Martin is saying, love the polo shirt, would happily have one of those for £25. We call those golf shirts in Canada, absolutely. So specifically from the States, they would be asking for golf shirts, and in the UK, they'd be asking for polo shirts. Rico Donator saying, we love the polo shirts, sell them to us. The other thing I was very nervous about is the merch thing, because you can very quickly fall into the rabbit hole of being a merch hooter and focused on merch, and merch takes all your time, and people kind of, that's not what it's about. But I resisted merch for a year, and everybody's saying, we want to buy merch. Where's the t-shirts? And I said, it was weird for me that people would want to buy merch with. Anyway, I got over that. And it's been great. And it's great to go to events. It's great to meet up in the flesh at tastings and to be wearing, me and you guys to be wearing the shirts. That kind of obvious statement of, I know what this is about. And I understand the dynamics of it now, and I'm getting over myself with it. But again, I want to temper it, and I don't kind of want to have every VPub live stream me showing off my latest bit of bling that I can sell, and it's kind of balance with all of these things. But I really like these polos, and I'm working on another wee project in the background that I think you guys are going to like as well. Lee is saying that's a great price. Jimmy Jazz is saying, I love the shirt. Fantastic. If I get good feedback on them, I didn't order a whole lot of these. I kept it neat. I'm over 2 colours as well. There's a charcoal grey, and this is the dark navy blue. Kind of, I have to lean back, I think, for you to see the colour. And it's the first time this logo's ever been used. This actually says it's not whiskey until it's shared on the Aqvavitae roundel, whereas usually it says Whiskey Evangelism under there. So there's a slightly new version of that logo on there. So you can let me know what you think about it. Whiskey Crusaders is saying, we just love your show and want to promote it, so buying a shirt is great and it might help get some more viewers. It definitely does. Macallan Fine Doc said that he was at a whiskey festival in Germany where people were physically stopping him to take photos of his t-shirt or to strike up a conversation and ask what it was about. If you'd have, I keep saying this, I know I keep saying this, but if you'd have told me 3 years ago that I was going to be able to sell merchandise with a picture of a wheelie bin, a trash can on it, I'd have told you were being crazy. But my wife likes the recycled review t-shirt. She likes the colour. She likes the fact that it's got a wheelie bin on it. It tickles her. She thinks it's great. And I kind of enjoy it as well. Whiskey Shade is saying, Aqvavitae, I'd love an Aqvavitae cork like the mock-up on your Patreon for my infinity bottle. you know, that's it's possible to do that. And what I would just need to do is get a little molded plastic disc that could stick onto a blank cork. But not every cork fits every bottle. Yes, you never know. Maybe in the future you can come up with wee ideas like this, especially if you can get to know vendors and things that can create these things. Whiskey Novice Jim is saying, put those shirts out, Ron. I'll buy one tomorrow. Honestly, for patrons, what I should probably do and what I should have done is like I always do. You guys always get first dibs on everything. Skippy Van Pop was saying, I think £25 is about $500 Canadian. £25 is expensive. I think is about 40, 45 Canadian, although the sterling is on its backside right now. If you guys are trading in dollars or any other currency, euros especially, and I'm selling in sterling, it's a bargain to you guys right now. The pound is very weak. But yeah, I always put it out to patrons first, and I'll definitely do that with the polos. But they're £25 and the same shipping as the t-shirts, so £4 locally, £6 Europe, and £9 international USA. Yeah, and it's inevitable I'm going to run out of sizes quite quickly. I think most of them, I think some have got maybe 8 or 10, like the large and extra large. But the mediums and the smalls, I've got 2 smalls, 4 or 5 mediums maximum, that kind of thing. I'm a medium, if that helps you on size. I'm a 38, 39 inch chest normally. So I don't know if that helps you at all. These are a bit looser fitting than the t-shirts, if that helps. So on the t-shirt, the new t-shirts, I'm more comfortable in the large. I can fit a medium, no problem, but I'm more comfortable in the large. It's a bit looser. This is a medium, and it's comfortable. I could squeeze into a small in these polos, honestly. Maybe be a wee bit tight, but yes. Okay, let's have a wee sample. Let's have a sample from one of you guys. What do we have here? Something, I tell you, now that I know he's in, I want to share this. Look at this marvelous, marvelous thing. Sid Martin just got married. Congratulations. I think his wife is Melanie. Sid and Melanie, yep. But what they did is they said, you might want to tell us what's in this, but they blended their own whiskey together, and they had some Melanie whiskey in there and some Sid whiskey in there, and they gave these out as gifts at their wedding, and he saved one and gifted it to me when he came up to Glasgow recently. So I'm going to open this. I'm not going to review or critique it, of course, but I'm going to pour it into a fresh glass, just so we can raise a wee glass of congratulations to Sid and Melanie on their wedding. Whiskey Radar is saying, what about an Aqvavitae glass holder for festivals? That's high on the priority ladder because I was wearing mine. You'll see it in the Still It video that went out today from, whoops, the Bastard's Ball. I had my lanyard on that you can pop a Glencairn into and walk around hands-free with your Glencairn just hanging there. I had that, but in the amount of people that stopped me and said, what is that? That's fantastic. When we were at the Bastard's Ball, it was quite incredible. It was the Glasgow Whisky Festival one I was wearing. I want to show you this. So you pop your glass in the elastic at the bottom. I'm probably teaching my granny how to suck eggs here. You guys know, all of you know what this is. The stretchy bit goes around the top, and if this sits over here, you can carry this around your. You won't be able to see this unless I stand up. Even when you've got a full dram, you can carry it around and chat away and have your hands free for everything else. So yeah, I thought about that, but then I thought that the market for it might be quite small. Not everybody gets to festivals and things. And I think the MOQ, the minimum order quantity for these kind of things, would be awful high, into the hundreds. But you never know. Anyway, everybody's saying congrats to Sid and Melanie, which I think is really cool. So let me do the same. Let me hold up this very, very special blend. Maybe, Sid, you can tell us what's in it and say congratulations, Sid and Melanie. Did I get a wee bit of smoke there? What I do need to say is that Melanie reached out to me and asked for some help to choose a special bottle that she could gift to Sid on his wedding day. And the things that she was suggesting, I got a wee bit scared because she was talking about getting him something really, really, really nice. And at one point, I just finally said, Melanie, you've done all the hard work. All of these things that you're suggesting are going to be wonderful. Go right ahead. And he was gifted something. I'll leave it to Sid whether he wants to. Here he is, Sid Martin saying Ardbeg 10, plus Aberlour 10, 12, 16, 18, and Abuna, because the very strong connection with Abuna, with Aberlour, sorry. And Ardbeg Lower is the catchy title. Is that actually written on it? We tied the knot, so take a shot. Sid and Melanie, 13th of October, 2019. Wonderful stuff. So Ardbeg and Aberlour. What a great idea. And they say love the lanyards. Funny how they are cool at festivals and love them, but wondering the looks you would get elsewhere. It's kind of what I'm thinking. Just kind of walking the dog in the park in a lanyard with a Glencairn glass around. Good for hiking, right? Donner Pass Whiskey saying hi, Roy, and everyone at work. So we'll watch as much as I can. Wonderful to have you in, Tim. I know that it's hard for you guys on your time zones, but you do very, very well to join me here. It's wonderful, wonderful stuff. So yes, I don't want to seem like I'm pushing merch all the time, but if I'm honest, back in the days when I watched the Scotch Test Dummies and I was just a viewer, I wasn't a creator or whatever, and they first popped out this concept of a coin, I bought one immediately. I loved it. I loved the idea of having a tangible thing. And Sid has admitted to everyone, Melanie got me a Douglas Lane Old and Rare Macallan 30, 1977 to 2007. So bottled in 2007. 30-year-old Macallan in 1977, I'm guessing, is, if I remember rightly from Melanie's comments, Sid's birth year as well. Steve A is saying, damn. Very nice indeed. Very nice. And Sid was, when I spoke to Sid about, are you going to keep that sealed? Are you going to, is that whiskey going to live up to? And he was like, no. I said, this is getting opened. He said, it's getting opened. I think Melanie could be a keeper. Big guy. What do you think about that? Whiskey Crusaders is saying, where did you get one of those? I need one for sure with all my events here. Yeah, do you know, I could speak to the folk at Glasgow Whiskey Festival and get a supplier for it. Yeah, Jimmy, like I saying, Aqvavitae, you look bigger than that. Sorry if that's not a compliment. Yeah, like I said earlier, we haven't met in real life, Blair, so it's kind of funny what cameras do to folk. Aqvavitae, that would be great. All I'll say to you, Matt, is that remind me, my friend. It's not that I'm forgetful, it's just that I don't remember a lot of things. I'm really enjoying drams tonight. I shouldn't be. Tonight should be a cold preparation night for the days ahead. Let me tell you what's happening. Tomorrow in the afternoon, I finish work early and I take a flight out with Sevi the Alchemist. The two of us are flying out to... It was a wee bit sad this week because it struck me that Scott Monroe won't be joining us. And I don't know. I always had it in my head that he was going to be there. I just pictured him being there. And then I worked out, of course, that he wasn't going. And and he's working, he couldn't join us. But I'm still excited about going out with Sevi. I mean, that's amazing, but it would be nice if the three of us were together. So Sevi and I are taking a flight out together and hooking up with everybody at a restaurant. The people start to gather for some food tomorrow night. Rolf is going to be there at Ebb Head, Doc McCallan Fine and Rare, Chris Moore, Last Drop, Aaron McFault. Who am I forgetting? I feel like I'm forgetting somebody. And of course, we're going to get to meet Luna Aaron as well on the Saturday. I don't know if Luna's going to be able to hang out with us on the evening of the Saturday as well. That would be good fun too. But the weekend kicks off tomorrow night at a bit of dinner, traditional German food, I believe. Then we've got the Interwhiskey Festival on Saturday. My masterclasses I can share if you're interested. It's a very different setup than the festivals that I'm used to in the UK. But on the 23rd, everybody was sharing their masterclasses, and there was really some very, very nice, expensive masterclasses and that I enjoyed last year. But I kind of looked at the cost of it all, and maybe I'll regret it, but I went for some lower cost masterclasses this time, and I'm doing a Paul John one, Indian single malt. I'm very struck by their whiskies generally. I quite enjoy them. They are not Scotch. Even the closest to Scotch Indian whiskies that they have are still very different. But I've enjoyed a couple of theirs recently, and I want to spend a wee bit of time with Shelton Almeida as well, who's a great guy. Aaron Malt as well is doing a masterclass. Very interested about that because there's lots of changes at Aaron. They've revamped and rebranded, and I wanted to know a wee bit more about what they're doing there. And there's a Glengoyne masterclass that was quite late in the day and isolated from any others. So I decided that might be a good one to join. And then on the Sunday, we're back at the festival again. And I'm really excited about this one. Miyagikyo Distillery, 50 years of Japanese perfection. That looks like a good one. I hope it doesn't let me down. And then in the afternoon, to wind up between 2 and 3 in the afternoon, I'm going to learn a wee bit more about the new Kuboken range from Tomatin. Whiskey Novice is saying, where is this? This is the Interwhiskey Festival in Frankfurt, Jim. You're very welcome to join us there or at any of these events at any time. If you're on Facebook, join the Aqvavitae Barflies group, and we'll start to share these events through that group. Fraser Bell says, has anyone tried any German whiskey? Yes, I've tried, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, Slurs. And at the Frankfurt Festival last year, I tried 2 or 3. I didn't buy any or bring any home. Yes. I didn't connect with any. But like I say, you can't really judge just by having wee samples, wee dates. Skippy Van Pob is saying, my wife brought me a Glenrothes 1985 bottled in 2016 for my birthday. She didn't know it, but I put her name on it and said, thank you very, very much. I think there's a lot of that goes on, honestly, Scott, a lot of it. Gregor is saying, is it me, or have those once barren shelves behind you become a lot more crowded? They need a bit of a thinning out and a clipping, don't they, Gregor? They certainly have. I'll show you this wee sample kit as well that I got, because it's obscuring my gift shelf. Everything on this shelf are whiskies that have been gifted to me. So we've got Jay Chung's Long Row, we've got Sevi the Alchemist's Inchgower, we've got a couple of Alabama whiskies from Jonathan Flowers at the back, Dwayne Large's Spring Mills Bourbon and Russell's Reserve. He brought those to me in his latest trip. We've got from Graham Young, we've got the Lot 40 and the Gagetown, the Lafroig Cask Strength there is from Scott Monroe. So that's just kind of gift whiskies. Whiskies that will most definitely be opened and need appropriate moments sought so that they can be opened and shared. I got this. There's a on the back of this. It tells me what's in this, and I know what's in it because it was a tasting that I should have attended, but I didn't go to in the end. I've made my excuses, and I know it was terrible that I let Jason at Malt review down on this tasting. But he didn't really need me there in the end, and he forgave me for it. He came through and helped me in my tasting, the gentleman that he is, at the blind tasting 2 Sundays ago. Fantastic guy, fantastic support, fantastic help as well. I love watching people get to grips with Jason when they meet him in real life, because his online persona is quite jaggy and blunt and awkward and difficult at times, because he's a very critical voice in the whiskey landscape. And like I say, it needs somebody that has that lack of fear, that lack of that thicker skin, let's say. But then when you meet him in life, he's utterly endearing and charming, and you're like, this can't be the same guy. But lots of guys got to meet him at the Sunday event, and he was really, really helpful. And he didn't once cast up that I failed to make it along to his tasting. And in fact, he brought me along this really nice gift box. Is there a wee sticker on it with all the samples there? And I don't want to look at what's in it, because I want to sit back and kind of sip these blind, because of the way that he's labelled these. It's really quite cool. How am I getting on for time? 11:15. Are we doing a quiz? Is there enough interest in doing a quiz tonight? I want to work out what I'm doing. Oh, I need to do the draw. So I need to tell you that little thank you collage that I put together, the mosaics, the slices of the whiskey letters, the bottle letters to say thank you, it was just a last minute thing. I was just putting it together, and as I was typing the thing, I said, it might actually work as a good puzzle. I think a lot of you had a lot of fun, but I can tell you the winner sent a direct message to me with the exact right answer for each of the 8 bottles, so fast that he must be like some kind of speed reader. I specifically put that at the bottom. I didn't do it at the start. I did it at the bottom of the piece that I wrote, the thank you piece that I wrote. And it came through so fast, and he got everyone right, that I thought, oh, this is really easy. But it was a long time before somebody else got one right. And that was Colin Turnbull. He was the fastest. His DM came through immediately, and there was nothing ambiguous about who won that first dram. So Colin, I was hoping that you might be able to participate tonight, but it doesn't matter. I'll contact you directly. You can have anything that you have seen me share. I'm going to recommend to you that I pour you something really nice, like Craigellachie 23. What have I got these? Did I bring them up? Glengoyne 25, Anok 24, something 20 plus years old. So I'm going to give you a wee selection of whiskies, and you can let me know what you want to send me to send you as a dram. I've had to order new sample bottles. I'm very short on sample bottles now. Most of the sample bottles I have still have samples in them. So I may be a wee bit late in getting some of these giveaways out to you that have been drawn recently. That being said, I'm just about to give away more. Let's do a wee screen share and ask my virtual assistant for everybody else that's going to get something nice, just as a wee kind of added sprinkle of thanks. Whiskey Crusaders, and I have to go pick up my kids. I'm not sure how long you've gone for, but if I'm still, I'll pop back on. I'll listen in the car. Thank you, Matt. Don't worry about it. Please be safe. The Caneheads Tasmanian whiskey that Jason brought was stunning. That was the Small Concern. I've tried that before at the London Whiskey Club and brought a sample home as well. Very curious bottling. What sample bottles are you using? I guess you're asking there, Gregor. I'm using Ampulla, AMPULLA. It's a UK-based website. They've got massive selections of all sorts of sample bottles, and I buy their 32.5 ml glass clear bottle. It's the one that I send out to everybody. It's become a standard bottle now, which is this one, Gregor. That's the one I buy, and the reason I like this is I've laid these bottles on their side for days and days and days on end with no leakage whatsoever. Whereas the ones that you buy from Amazon, as my friend Was it Alistair Gray? Was it Alistair? They sent out these to me. You can see that we had a nice aroma to the packaging when it arrived. Not so much leaked out. I mean, there wasn't much leaked. But you can see that the Amazon ones, they look the same or they look similar, but they're not. Alistair is saying, yes, it was him. Don't buy from Amazon. Absolutely. So it's Ampula. Gregor, if you direct message me after this, and if you want a link to the specific product that I buy, I can send that to you. Okay, let's draw and see who's going to get a wee sample. I've got a window here. How can I share the screen? Let me see. So here we go. We've got 45 entries. This was only open to patrons, of course. So, hey Siri, give me a random number between 1 and 45. Good luck.
A random number between 1 and 45 is 39.
39. Seriously serious? So we have Sterling. Congratulations, Sterling. So you have won either a Craigellachie 23, a Glengoyne 25, or an Anok 24. All of these bottles, I don't have them all here. Well, I do actually. I did bring them up. They're ready for killing anyway. I've got through this one remarkably quickly. The first part of it, it took me a long, long time. And then this, it really opened up after that. And this has it's been wonderful. Craigellachie 23, this is £300 a bottle now. Absolutely ridiculous price. Delicious whiskey, don't get me wrong. But it's not £300 whiskey. Use your £300 elsewhere. So this will be in a recycled review soon as well. As well, my beloved and utterly gorgeous and seductive Glengoyne 25. One of the cleanest and just lovely Glengoyne 25. So you can choose from those, or if there's something else, the new Kilkerrans that's come out, I've got the Cask Strength, managed to secure a Springbank local barley, I've got the heavily peated Kilkerran, I've got a bunch of stuff, things that I've been sharing on the channel. Generally, you can choose anything that you like, and I'll have another draw right now, just because I want to say thank you. Hey Siri. Randomized range.
I'm listening.
Hey Siri, give me a random number between 1 and 45.
A random number between 1 and 45 is 19.
19, Matt McCain. Matt out in the States. Fantastic, Matt. Congratulations. I don't think you're in tonight, but if you can get in touch with me, and I'll get a dram sent over to you. Anything that I've been talking about. And finally, hey Siri, give me a random number between 1 and 45.
A random number between 1 and 45 is 37.
And Steve. Now, I do know this guy's full name, but in Patreon, he's only known as Steve. So, Steve, congratulations. You've won yourself a patron's thank you dram. I know I've said it a lot, but you deserve it. Thank you so, so much. I'm actually getting to the stage now that my channel is paying for itself now. I'm actually able to save money. I'm earning from this channel now. That's changed things considerably, and I've flirted with the idea, and I've shared things with you guys in the past about my future and the flexibility that I've built into that future by choosing to leave my company of 20 years and go self-employed. And the idea there is to bring flexibility into the family, into my work life, and into my whiskey life as well. I have tried to work out the figures, and if the patron support stayed at the level that it's at, as little as 350 perhaps, but probably the safe number would be something like 400 patrons, you could actually consider this being your full-time gig, your full-time effort. Seriously, maybe a pay cut to start with, fine, but honestly, you would be able to make things work, make ends meet at about 350, 400 patrons. That's kind of my guesswork just now. I don't know how excited my wife is about that. But for me, it's exciting because I love parts of my job. I love the creative side of my job. I love when I get to create things and use my creative side. It's a wonderful place to be in. And hopefully that's what my job is going to be like in the near future. But being my own boss in whiskey and the hobby thing still being there, part of the dynamic, and keeping it fun, that's tempting. That's nirvana. That's everybody's goal in life, isn't it? Mark Slinger is saying, Roy, what is the new Kilkerran cask strength like? Is it a sherry cask? The new 8-year-old cask strength is sherry cask, and it's fabulous. Genuinely fabulous, especially for the money. Skippy Van Bob is saying, that's great news. That's what it's all about. So Michael is saying, that's amazing. You deserve all the success. And Dwayne Large is saying, a nice goal, Roy. And Jimmy Legg is saying, that's very exciting. Well, you can imagine the flexibility I would have if I turned up at my desk every day and my only job was looking after you guys and creating whiskey content, and just having utter free reign to do whatever I wanted. It needs a lot of thought, of course. These things always do. But that's the magic of what Patreon affords people. I'm 3 years in now, and in fact, I think this is my 2-year anniversary of VPubs. I don't know if it was tonight. I don't know if it was the 21st. But 2 years ago today, I started. They weren't called VPubs back then. I did the first ever live, and I just kind of built on it and built on it and built on it. And I've listened to you guys. I've listened and listened and listened. I've listened to all the positive feedback, and I've taken special care when the feedback has been a wee bit more critical. Thankfully, my patrons are very carefully considered, and I do listen when you give me the feedback. So yes, I can share that with you guys. I'd be a bit more reluctant to kind of put that out there publicly for obvious reasons. I don't want to compromise my work dynamics, my professional work dynamics and things. And also, the dynamics do change, and I think attitudes change to you when you say to people that you're considering using platforms like Patreon and YouTube to take it on full time, and they can be dismissive and say, yeah, but it's that guy's job. He does it full time. I'm taking something that I've created and tried to mold it into something that I can actually desire to do full time. That's the magic sauce. If the passion and the desire can stay. And as I chat to you, I realize now that I'm on the wee screen. I apologize for that. Not very professional. Macallan Fine and Rare, the doc. The list is still on the screen, Roy. Apologies. Ducking out Aqvavitae, thank you. My Patreon subscriber total of 0 means I need to attend this meeting. Thanks for joining, Gregor. I hope the meeting is light and productive. Okay, while a few of you are piling out now, let's get the quiz on the go and see if we can get to bed pre-midnight. Certainly UK time, right? Busy weekend. Okay. See if I can make this work. Now, apologies first off for the quiz. I did explain to you earlier, it is a wee bit of an experiment. It is a themed quiz tonight, and every question that you're going to be witnessing tonight has got Deanston, and that is not, I didn't purposely pick Deanston because I'm a fanboy. I am a fanboy. I love Deanston. I love modern Deanstons. I love new Deanstons. But it's because I opened the Charlie McLean Wikipedia and it was the Deanston page that it fell open at. So let's go straight into this. And good luck, everybody. Steve A is helping out tonight. You star. I've not seen Whiskey Jason in tonight. I wanted to ask him if he's going to be at Frankfurt at Interwhiskey at the weekend. Might get a chance to hang out. Anyway, good luck, everybody. First question, Deanston Distillery. first ran spirit in which year? So really I'm looking for what year did Deanston actually become a distillery? Not when it was built, but when the spirit ran for the first time. Was it 1965, 1969, or 1974? 65, 69, or 74. So obviously what the point of that question is to try and get across that Deanston was very much an opportunistic project. It was at a time that whiskey was booming, really, and a lot of malt distilleries opened up in the 50s and into the 60s in order to cater for this huge boom in malt whiskey. And Deanston was very much part of that. And McAllen Fine Rare saying Jason is in Dublin this weekend. Ah, wow. So we're not going to see Whiskey Jason this weekend. He's travelling to Ireland. Sorry, I'll miss you again, Jason. Maybe you'll catch this in the replay. Anyway, most of you, virtually all of you, is right. Dwayne Large has said A. He's going to be upset with me because Deanston started construction in 1965 or thereabouts, but it didn't actually run its first spirit until 1969. So the oldest Deanston that you'll ever happen across was distilled in 1969. I can't vouch for its quality, but it was back in the 60s. They're making fabulous stuff now. Question 2. Deanston is thought to be one of 14 distilleries still using what? Now the key is one of 14 distilleries that still does this activity. Is it use a water wheel for power? Is it use vertical condensers? Or is it an open top mash tun? 14 distilleries in Scotland do this. They either use a water wheel for power, or they use vertical condensers for condensation, or they use an open top mash tun. I think this will be easy, this quiz tonight. I think it'll be easy. And I'm wondering, it's been nice to kind of see how this, using a theme to put together a quiz can be easier, it can be quicker, it can be perhaps a wee bit easier for me to make it. Absolutely everybody is answering C. Kilco's hit the nail on the head saying C, because I bet that is correct. Absolutely. They used to have a cast iron open top mash tun, and just earlier in this year I was able to go up and see when it was in various stages, and the most recent times I've been to Deanston, they've got a new steel direct copy of that cast iron open top mash tun in action there. And not many distilleries in Scotland use an open top mash tun. It tends to produce a cloudier wort, so a semi or a full lauter mash tun will produce a clearer wort, which is often desirable depending on what kind of spirit you're after. But I'm very happy that at Deanston they kept this open top plan. I don't want anything changing. Still it, Jesse is a new star. Wait, an open mash tun or fermenter? No, I'm talking about an open top mash tun, not fermenter. All the fermenters tend to be closed over or spend most of their time closed over, the washbacks, but I'm talking about the mash tun. Jesse, I was plugging your video. I loved your video earlier today, your Bastard's Bottle. I'm going to share it with my patrons. I suggested that I drop the link in here so they can see it, but I've also asked them to come along and look at your channel on YouTube. Still It is the channel that you're looking for in his most recent video. Ask the question, should an event like that be in his community, which is more focused towards home distillation and that kind of thing? But that was a great video, and I loved that you were able to edit some kind of sense out of our little time sitting on that pathway together. Really enjoyed it. Question 3, Deanston's warehouse tour is enjoyed where? Where is Deanston's warehouse tour? Is it in duty-free warehouse number 2? Is it in duty-free warehouse number 4? Or is it in a room behind the shop? I guess to know this, you have to have had a tour at Deanston and perhaps even a warehouse tour, but not really, because there's a graphic that Deanston put on a lot of merchandise and a lot of promotional material in their social media feeds, and it specifically calls the location of where they have the warehouse tour. Malcolm Douglas is here as well. Malcolm, great to welcome you in. I think that's the first time I've spotted your name tonight. The Whiskey Novice isn't too happy about this question. You know, I'm quite happy to take a lot of flack in some of the questions. It was really funny. I was responding to some comments from the last live stream, the VPub, and I dropped in and it was me doing the quiz at some point at the end, and I just looked up at the comments and there was a comment waiting for approval that I hadn't approved. I hadn't even seen it. And it was somebody, I can't even remember who was commenting, but it was one of the questions, and they'd written, "What kind of ass hack question is this?" Something that you don't take too seriously. Okay, you're all answering B. Has anybody answered the correct question? The correct answer, sorry. I don't think so. It's actually duty-free warehouse number 2. I don't know if anybody has seen me wearing my duty-free warehouse number 2 graphic t-shirt. I've got one that I wear occasionally out to events and things. I don't wear it in the live streams. But duty-free warehouse number 2 has become a thing. They use the sign for duty-free warehouse number 2 as a kind of graphic. So it's A. Matthias Metzner sneaks in an A right at the end. So if you answered A, give yourself a point. It was a tricky question, and I accept that it's one of those asshat ones, maybe. And Jimmy Legg is saying, "Sorry, Roy, that was me. I think it was you, Jimmy." But it made me laugh out loud and heartily. It was very funny to read. Okay, here's another crazy question. I'm having fun tonight. Who is Deanston's closest operating neighbour as the crow flies? So I'm asking you to have a kind of mental picture of the Scotch whisky geography and landscape when it comes to distillery locations. But Deanston's in a very specific place. It's right in the centre of the country near Doon. So if you've ever seen Monty Python, it was Doon Castle that they used in the Holy Grail. And more recently in Outlander and things like that, that's the castle that they use for that filming. Deanston's very close to that, but I'm asking tonight, who's its closest neighbour as a crow flies? Is it A, Tullibardine, B, Glenturret, or C, Glengoyne? Neil Cochrane is saying, should there not be a D option for a Deanston quiz? Malcolm Douglas is saying, I don't believe that. I have one upstairs. I thought it was 4. Go and grab your t-shirt. Go and grab it, Malcolm. Warehouse number 2. DeanstonMalt.com, our shop, for example. I go down to the merch. I may have to apologise. Oh, they don't have any warehouse. Oh, they do. They have merch available. They have merch available. I would do a screen share, but it's definitely duty-free warehouse number 2. Okay, let me get back to this here and tell you that the closest neighbour is in fact Tullibardine. Now, I fully believe that Tullibardine is also the closest in terms of driving as well, but I couldn't be sure when I was putting the question together, so I went with as the crow flies. Remarkably close to each other. Glenturret just slightly northeast. Glengoyne, obviously it's a bit south and west, and Tullibardine just kind of more east from Deanston, up the A9 there. You know, I've never done I pass Tullibardine so regularly, and I have stopped and had a wee look in the shop and see how things are going at the cooperage there and stuff, but I've never actually paused to take a tour. I should do that sometime. But if you've answered question A, give yourself a point, move on to the picture question. I can tell you that this is a video that you need to watch. I'm not going to share the video with you tonight. It's not a long video, but it's on the Deanston website. It's a full screen video. You've got just that little click arrow there. Watch it. It's very Deanston. Deanston know who they are. They know what they're about. They're very aware of what they do and how they're held, you know, in the whiskey landscape, that people don't really know what they're doing or what they are. And they're very humble and matter of fact, and it comes across in that video. It's almost funny the way that video has been put together. I encourage you to go and watch it. It's good fun on the Deanston website. But the question that I'm going to ask you about this picture is, I want you to tell me what river that is flowing past the distillery. What river flows past that distillery? The reason that that building is there is that river. And is it the River Teith, or is it the Allen Water, or is it the River Forth? Eric Waite is saying, Tullibardine was my final stop on my last trip to Scotland. A great tour with an elderly Scotsman. Roland's saying, a drunken crow flies to Glengoyne first. Brilliant, Roland. Brilliant. Okay, everybody seems to believe that this is the River Teith that's flowing past Deanston. And if you've ever been to a tour at Deanston, it absolutely is. It very much features as part of the tour, the reason the distillery is there. And maybe in the picture there, you can see the lead that brings the power or the water down from the fast flowing river down to the power generation site at Deanston, which still exists. It's not the big traditional water wheel that it used to be back in the day, but they still generate all their own power and sell significant amounts of power back to the grid. So it is the River Teith that flows past Deanston. Pause for a minute and have a wee look at it when you're there. Question 6. I should ask at the halfway point how the scores are going. I can see that some of you are offering it up. Steve A's 4 out of 5, Per Christensen 3 out of 5, Neil Cawthron 4 out of 5. So there has been a banana skin or two, and I take that on the chin. 2018 saw a 10-year-old red wine finish release at 46.3%. Okay, I'm specifically looking for a travel retail release here. What was it? Was it Claret, Pinot Noir, or Bordeaux? Red wine finish, Claret, Pinot Noir, or Bordeaux? I'm saying this, Pinot Noir is red, isn't it? Yes, it is. It's red wine. Eric's in tonight. He'll keep me straight. Steve A is saying he'll go with C. And Fraser Bell is saying, I'm a Deanston fail. 1 out of 5, off to bed. Whiskey Freedom. Fraser, my friend, don't let it put you off. You do need to connect with Deanston. If the whiskey gods are shining their light on us, Fraser, you and I will get to visit Deanston together. And if we don't, we'll maybe get to just raise a glass if we ever meet. I hope that happens at some point in the future. And I hope you sleep well tonight, my friend. Thank you for joining tonight. Jason Coates is saying he nearly bought one on his way back from Italy. So there you go. Whatever Jason C has answered is probably going to be right. And I can tell you that, of course, it is the Bordeaux. Now, this was to differentiate from the Cask Strength 2008 Bordeaux that came out a couple of years ago, which was wonderful. It was Jason Whiskey Wise. I always remember he put me onto that. Loved it. Got through a couple of bottles of it. Joy Caves and our partner Brian brought along a bottle of that and gifted it to me at the Bastards Ball in Texas. And we popped it open at the ball and shared it with everyone. And it brought it back just how an amazing a bottle it was. Simon Ray is saying, Aqvavitae, I thought it was 9, not 10 years old. So the 9-year-old one was the 2008 Cask Strength one, and the 10-year-old is a travel exclusive. And Eric Waite is saying Claret and Bordeaux are the same thing. I wonder why they make the distinction when they talk about whiskey maturation then, Eric. But thank you. Question 7, who's credited for the creation of a distillery from an abandoned mill? So who saw this mill and decided that it would be a fantastic location and a fantastic place to make whiskey back in the 60s? Was it A, Ian McMillan, Was it B, Brodie Hepburn, or C, Dr. Brian Houston? Steve A saying Aqvavitae, as I recall, that was delicious. Steve, if you got to try that at the Bastards Ball, it was delicious. It's a terrific whiskey. And that was selling for £50 at the time. Now, what sample am I going to try? I'm going to try something. I'm going to try an Ebb sample here. This is a Rolf Ebb head sample. I don't know if Rolf is still in. He's perhaps sleeping, getting his beauty sleep for the weekend. But he gave me a long row 11-year-old single cask for Norway, sherry matured. Now, I don't love sherry matured long rows, in my experience, but he seemed confident about this. Let's pour a wee bit of water in this just to rinse out this glass. And I can tell you, I want to see if anybody's answering. I would have loved somebody to have answered C, because there is a Brian Houston at Deanston, but he certainly wasn't around in the 1960s. He's an ambassador for Deanston, and he's one of the tour guides there, and he's a lovely guy as well. So it's not C, but I can tell you it was B, Mr. Brodie Hepburn. A, Ian McMillan being the guy who did work at Deanston for quite some time. He worked for Burn Stewart for a long time. These are really generous bottles, Rolf. These samples that you... Very generous. They must be 10 cl pours. 10 cl, what is that? 4 ounce in American money. So if you answer B for Brodie Hepburn, probably by a process of elimination, give yourself a point, and we flick on to question 8. And I'll ask, Deanston is still producing large quantities under contract. What is its capacity? So very much its primary function is still contract filling, but the proportion of what they are making for their future single malt release is becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. But how big a distillery is Deanston? What's its capacity? To give you a point of reference, Glengoyne is just a little over 1 million litres of pure alcohol per annum, LPA. Is it A, 2.5 million, B, 3 million, or C, 6.2 million? Neil Cochran said he bought a house from Brodie Hepburn. He did a better job for the distillery. Well, he didn't build it. He just had to buy it, I guess, Neil. That's interesting. At the quantity under contract or total quantity, what is the distillery's capacity? Sorry if that's ambiguous. I want to know what the total capacity of the distillery is. It would be interesting to know what their allocation is for single malt maturation for their own product in the future, but I'm not sure they would share it, and I'm sure it remains flexible, right? Neil Cochran is saying he didn't build a house either. Okay, I can tell you now that you've Googled it. Perhaps, I don't think you've Googled it for a second. You're very, oh, wow. I wanted to say you're very knowledgeable whiskey folk. But that long road just hit me like an electric shock. I've had a lot of nice whiskies tonight. But this is playing a different sport altogether. Good God. I love whiskey. Rolf, have you any of this left? I'm going to bring this and share it tomorrow night. That is beautiful, beautiful whiskey. Full on, what ABV is that? 56.8. Fabulous. Okay, don't get distracted, Roy. I'm trying to keep this under midnight. Question 9, who's often credited with starting the changes which saw Deanston's rise as a credible single malt? So I'm talking about its modern consideration, the modern context that it has is making a good, characterful, very well defined profile. You know, that maltiness, the honey, the waxiness, the oiliness, the things that I've come to love Deanston for, the spice on the finish. Who's credited with taking what was fairly generic whiskey product and making it what it is? Is it often credited to Richard Patterson? Is it often credited to Ian McMillan? Or is it often credited to James Finlay? Jimmy Legg is saying that lady. I know that lady. I know who you're talking about. You're talking about Dr. Kirsty McCallum, and she's very much had the ability to put together some fantastic whiskey, but using the bricks laid down by this gentleman back in the day. I think the whiskies that they're working with at Deanston now and Bunnahabhain and Tobermory, as the years go on, are getting better and better because of maturation, because the whiskey's becoming older and better, but because of the changes that this man put into place. Jimmy Legg is saying, not Dalmore boy. So obviously he doesn't believe that Richard Patterson was pulled in under some kind of consultation. I can tell you, of course, it was Ian McMillan. I'd love to have a chat with Ian McMillan. I'd love to know, I'd love to understand what he had to go through, how difficult it was for him to convince the then owners of Deanston to put these changes into place, because at every stage of the way, he was asking them to invest more and spend more money. It was going the opposite way of efficiency a lot of the times. But he changed every process. He changed the way they handled the cask management. He changed distillation. He changed fermentation, all of it. And finally, he changed the presentation so that we got a product that was unchill filtered, a natural colour where it could be, had an age statement, and it was a minimum of 46.3%. And we all benefit from that nowadays. But I'd like to chat to Ian and find out if it was actually his doing. Listen, I've just shown you that question 10, but I should ask how the scores are. Is anybody on 9 out of 9? Malcolm Douglas is on 6 out of 9. Desi Vleeland is on 7 out of 9, 7 out of 9, 6 out of 9, 7 out of 9, 7 out of 9, 8 out of 9. Alistair Gray's on an 8 out of 9. That looks like the highest. Excellent score, Alistair. Simon Ray, Simon, you star also on 8 out of 9. Jason Coates, 8 out of 9. Brilliant stuff. So Simon, Jason, and Alistair Gray seem to be the guys who are doing the stuff tonight. Dwayne Large, 6. Still terrific scores everywhere. Nobody's really struggling tonight, I don't think. Neil Cochrane, 8 out of 9. Neil's been kicking it out of the park recently. Okay, question 10, quickly. Deanston was used for scenes in the Ken Loach movie Angel's Share, along with 2 other locations. So the movie The Angel's Share was focusing around 3 distilleries in terms of filming. Deanston was there alongside 2 other distilleries. Was it A, Balblair and Glengoyne, B, Glengoyne and Glenkinchie, or C, Glenkinchie and Balblair? Triquetra's saying no idea as long as I beat G on the list question. You're talking about Gigi as long as you beat your other half, is that right, Stuart? You guys are a knowledgeable crowd. I wonder how many of you have seen the movie The Angel's Share. One of my small claims to fame is that just on the road outside there is where they filmed the closing scene. So many of you know right away that it's Glengoyne and Balblair. So A. If you answered A, give yourself a point because it's clearly Glengoyne and Balblair. The heist scene and most of the big scenic countryside thing was done at Balblair. The external shots of the initial distillery visits was done at Glengoyne, and as a Whiskey Radar, I think it was Whiskey Radar Roland pointed out, the interior shots, they used the visitor centre inside Deanston because they've quite a nice visitor centre there. Fantastic stuff. No 10 out of 10s tonight by the looks of things, but Simon Ray got damn close with a 9 out of 10. Neil Cochrane slipped at the last minute to give himself an 8 out of 10. He'll be kicking himself and saving another kick for me when he sees me next. Jimmy Legacy saying, did they get your wheelie bin in the film? No, but I'm just waiting on the day that the wheelie bin gets stolen. When people come to visit the house, they get selfies taken at the wheelie bin. It's too funny. Alistair is saying, great quiz as always. Alistair, honestly, thanks for the feedback, but was it genuinely? It was a bit of a tongue-in-cheek thing that I did. It was a wee bit lazy on my part tonight to have a Deanston or a single distillery theme, but I kind of floated it off just to see how it would land with you. I don't know how you feel about these streams, these lock-ins. I love doing them with you. I always feel a lot more relaxed. But should it just be the same as the regular VPubs, like it kind of is, the structure? I feel like I get to talk to you a little bit more. I don't have a central topic to monologue about for a long time. I kind of hope to use it to kind of give you a bit more insight of what's happening. I don't know how much I succeed in that. Once I have a team around me to prompt me and help me, it'll get better. Dwayne Large is saying, thanks for the lock-in. And Eric Waite is saying, one day a thief will sell your wheelie bin on eBay. Triketra is saying, love the chat, keep it informal. Good. Wheelie bin selfies, hilarious. Absolutely. I'm just waiting on one to appear on social media. Why are they taking a photo at a wheelie bin? Great night, Roy's, Neil is saying, and Steve is saying, thanks, always fun streams, and yes, the lock-ins are great. Thank you, Steve. And Jimmy Legacy, he loves these the most. Good. I want your feedback. I had a really good guest on recently. I think Gordon Dundas brought a lot. Not everybody was as excited as me about having him on, honestly, but we had a very frank chat before he came on about it being off-brand and about it being about it from an enthusiast perspective. But I encouraged him and I said, look, the points of reference that you have are Tamdhu Glengoyne. Go with it. Just go back and talk about that. And I thought that he brought a lot of quality, a lot of integrity, and a lot of insight. That's the kind of industry folk I want to collaborate with. The ones who are willing to talk to us as enthusiasts and give us the respect and just chill out a bit and drop off brand a wee bit to be an enthusiast themselves. I got a lot of feedback from you last year and early this year that guests are fine, but you're in it for the community and you're happy for me just to host and things, but the occasional guest is good. So what I'm doing now is when I get excited about having a guest, when there's somebody that's clear that I would enjoy having on, that's the guest I'm kind of reaching out to. I hope that you agree with that spirit. Love the more relaxed chat, Alistair's saying. We can read each other's messages as well, not moving quickly. Exactly. You guys get to talk to each other as well. Laughing, picturing Eric Waite dragging the wheelie bin through the airport, claiming nothing to declare. Mark Slinger is saying Gordon Dundas was fantastic. Honestly, I thought he was as well. Jimmy Legg is saying he was a great guest, but you're enough for us, honestly. It's interesting, Blair. I think the creators are becoming more relaxed with the idea that they can host things solo and people enjoy that. Now that we understand that it's so much more about that chat, you guys sitting in the lounge talking to each other, I always joke that I can just kind of start a live stream and then walk off and make some dinner or hang out with the family or something. But we're just kind of the hosts. And as long as the party's taking care of itself, you seem to be happy for the most part. For the regular public VPubs, I like there to be a bit of structure, a bit of learning, a bit of education, a bit of evangelism, a bit of interaction there with a bit of depth to it. And I'll always try and have a theme or an agenda. But I have the feeling that things are okay, not to screw with it too much right now. Whiskey Radar Roland is saying, thank you, Roy, for being such a kind host on a beloved VPubs. Thank you, Roland, for being such a wonderful part of my community as well. All of you are amazing. Every word I wrote in that article I released earlier this week, I was very sincere about, and I can say it to you now. I love you all. I am forever grateful for all the support that you give this channel. It is really, really, I need to find a different word that isn't privilege, but it genuinely is a privilege to be able to do this. And I love it. And I want to try to do everything I can to preserve this positivity as long as we possibly can, all of us together. Captain 3D is in as well. Phil, you star. Great hanging out while supposed to be doing proper tasks. Phil, I really enjoyed you on Eric Waite's open mic as well. I didn't get to catch all of Eric Waite's stream. I was dropping in and out of it, and I had a bit of it while I was doing some other work, just playing away as an audio thing in the background. But I actually stopped when you guys were talking. I loved the way you and Eric were going backwards and forwards. Enjoyed your stuff as well. Captain 3D, of course, we're talking about Captain 3D and the great content they're putting out on their channel as well. A lot of other YouTubers and creators in here tonight. I want to point out Whiskey Novice as well. That's Jim Ingram, is over in Northern Ireland. He's doing his own thing. He's not been doing it for a long time, but he's sharing his own whiskey wisdom and his own journey with you as well. He's a supporter of mine, and he seems, to me anyway, to just being absolutely bitten by the whiskey bug and loving it. Whiskey Novice is actually here saying, yep, totally agree with that. Love that Gordon did this thing, and it just keeps giving. Thank you so much. As usual with these things, I always run over time. I'm only a minute over time at the minute, but I'm over time. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I have to go off and pack, check in for my flight and things for a weekend in Frankfurt. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody that I'll see there. Thank you for hanging out with me. I know there's lots of things I've forgotten, but I'm going to sit and take a minute with this amazing long row from Rolf. It doesn't give a lot away on the nose. Wow. Springbank can bring it. That sometimes they really can. Thank you, Rolf. And thank you, you wonderful, wonderful Patreon folk. I'll see you for a December. I was going to talk to you about December and I completely forgot. If you are up for weekly live streams in December, the same as last year, they are chargeable. You will pay for them. For me to do weekly live streams in December, they will be public live streams. There'll be creations, things that I prepare for and I create and I charge. Hopefully, if you don't want to pay for a weekly live stream in December, you don't have to. It's optional. You just cap your donation to me. It doesn't mean you need to change your tier. Just cap and limit yourself so that you know, regardless of what Aqvavitae puts out in a month, your contribution to Aqvavitae channel to me is going to remain the same if you want to drive it that way. If you want to pay for a weekly channel, a weekly VPub, I am prepared to try my very best to do a weekly VPub in December. Depending on scheduling, it might not always land on a Thursday night because of the holidays, because of Christmas, because of the comings and goings and family and everything. But please feedback to me in the comments and let me know if you are indeed up for a weekly event like I did last year. The feedback last year was positive, and I imagine it could be the same again. But I'm up for doing a December thing. I love it. It's whiskey season for me, and it would be a privilege to try to put together a weekly stream in December. Let me know. Steve is saying holiday streams, charge away. Capping donations is easy if people need to. That's my point, Steve, exactly. Jimmy Legg is saying, shut up and take my money. We need to hang out, Blair. That would be amazing. Donnerpass Whiskey is saying, have a great time this weekend. Tim, thank you so much. Thank you to you all. I need to let you get to your beds now. And I know if you're in the States, you're just getting to tea time or dinner time. But thank you. I love these lock-ins, I really do. And I'll certainly, if I do a weekly stream in December, I'll need to try and find a way to do a Patreon-only lock-in as well. I'll do my very, very best. But in the meantime, I'll raise this glass and say have a fabulous weekend, everybody. And I hope to share some social media fun with you from Frankfurt. Until next time, Slancheva.